The coffee shop was nearly empty that Tuesday morning when Sarah Bennett noticed him. A young soldier in desert camouflage, standing motionless at the counter, patting his pockets with increasing desperation. His face flushed crimson as he mumbled an apology to the barista, explaining that he must have left his wallet back at the base. Sarah watched as he turned to leave, his shoulders sagging under the weight of what seemed like more than just embarrassment. Without thinking, she called out to the barista to add his order to hers. The soldier turned, his tired eyes meeting hers, and in that brief moment of connection, neither of them could have known that this simple act of kindness would unravel a chain of events that would shatter and rebuild both their lives in ways they never imagined possible. If you believe in the power of small acts of kindness and second chances, please hit that like button, drop a comment below, share this story with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to our channel. You never know how one moment of compassion can change everything. Sarah had been going through her own private hell for the past 3 years. After losing her husband David to cancer, she had thrown herself into her work as an elementary school teacher, using the laughter of children to drown out the deafening silence of her empty home. Every morning, she stopped at the same coffee shop, ordering the same vanilla latte, sitting at the same corner table, going through the motions of a life that felt more like survival than living. But something about this young soldier's face stirred something in her, a reminder that everyone was fighting battles invisible to the world. The soldier approached her table hesitantly, introducing himself as Private First Class Marcus Webb. His handshake was firm, but his hands trembled slightly. He thanked her profusely for the coffee, explaining that he had just returned from a 15-month deployment in Afghanistan 3 days ago, and was still adjusting to being back. As they talked, Sarah noticed the haunted look in his eyes, the way he startled at sudden sounds, how he gripped his coffee cup as if it were the only solid thing in a spinning world. He told her he was stationed at the nearby Fort Carson base, that he had no family in the area, that most days felt like he was still in the desert, unable to fully return home even though his body had made the journey. Sarah found herself inviting him to sit, and they talked for over an hour. Marcus spoke haltingly about his deployment, about the friends he had lost, about the crushing weight of survivor's guilt that made every breath feel unearned. Sarah shared her own story of loss, of the grief that had hollowed her out, of learning to live in a world that had moved on while she remained frozen in the moment David took his last breath. In that coffee shop, two broken souls found an unexpected comfort in their shared understanding of pain. Before they parted, Sarah scribbled her phone number on a napkin and told Marcus to call her if he ever needed someone to talk to, never expecting that he actually would. But he did call. 3 days later, then again the following week, and soon they developed an unlikely friendship. Sarah would meet Marcus for coffee, and slowly she began to see glimpses of the person he had been before war had carved its scars into his soul. She learned that he had dreamed of becoming a teacher before enlisting, that he loved classic literature and terrible puns, that beneath the trauma was a gentle soul struggling to find his way back to the light. In helping Marcus navigate his return to civilian life, Sarah discovered something unexpected. She was healing too. The act of showing up for someone else had given her a reason to show up for herself. Weeks turned into months, and their friendship deepened. Sarah helped Marcus enroll in classes at the community college, encouraged him to seek therapy for his PTSD, and slowly watched him reclaim pieces of himself. Marcus, in turn, helped Sarah rediscover joy, taking her hiking, introducing her to his growing circle of veteran friends, reminding her that honoring David's memory meant living fully, not merely existing. They became each other's lifeline. Proof that sometimes the people who save us are the ones we thought we were saving. Then came the call that changed everything. It was a Thursday evening in October, 6 months after their first meeting, when Sarah's phone rang with an unfamiliar number. The voice on the other end identified himself as Colonel James Mitchell from Fort Carson. Sarah's heart stopped, immediately fearing the worst, but the colonel's words weren't what she expected. He explained that Marcus had been selected for a special commendation ceremony and had specifically requested that Sarah be there. More than that, Marcus had nominated Sarah for the Fort Carson Community Excellence Award, an honor given to civilians who had made extraordinary contributions to the lives of service members at the ceremony. The following week, Sarah stood in a room filled with soldiers, military families, and distinguished guests, completely overwhelmed. As Marcus took the podium to speak, his voice steady and strong in a way she had never heard before, he told the room about a morning when he had been at his lowest point, when he had walked into a coffee shop planning for it to be one of his last acts before ending his pain. He had deliberately left his wallet behind, he confessed, as a test, to see if anyone would notice him, if anyone would care, if there was any kindness left in a world that felt cruel and indifferent. And then a stranger had paid for his coffee and asked him to sit down and talk, and that simple act had saved his life. If this story has touched your heart, please take a moment to hit that like button and share this video. Your engagement helps us spread more stories of hope and reminds us all of the incredible impact we can have on each other's lives. Sarah's eyes flooded with tears as Marcus continued, explaining how her friendship had given him the courage to face his demons, to seek help, to believe that his life still had purpose and meaning. He told the room how he was now training to become a peer support specialist, helping other veterans navigate their return home, breaking the cycle of silent suffering that claimed so many lives. And it had all started because one person had seen him, truly seen him, in his moment of greatest need. If you believe that kindness creates ripples that change the world, please comment below with the word hope. Let's fill this comment section with a reminder that we're all connected, that our actions matter, that love wins. As Sarah accepted her award, she realized that in trying to save Marcus, she had saved herself. The coffee had cost $3.47. The call had changed everything. And standing in that room, surrounded by men and women who had given everything for their country, Sarah understood that healing was never a solitary journey. It was something we did for each other, one small act of courage and compassion at a time. Sometimes the bridges we build to help others cross their darkest valleys become the very paths that lead us home to ourselves. And it all began with a simple choice to pay for a stranger's coffee and ask him to stay.